Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita summarized, text 44 onwards. So last time we discussed, Krishna says to Arjun that Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandar, means one has to be resolute on this purpose. On which path? On the path of yoga. So intelligence of those who are irresolute is many brashed. Means then they cannot find the right path. And then he says, Yamimam Pushpitam Vacha, men of small knowledge, because those who are not resolute, they will not have full knowledge, obviously. And they're very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities. So they're not resolute in purpose. They just want to enjoy and then come back from heavenly planets again and think they are enjoying here in material world or on earth. And then they just remain here suffering. So why they cannot go back or cannot make progress on the path of yoga? It's mentioned here in text 44. Bhogashwarya prasaktanam daya bharat chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So these two things, sense enjoyment and material opulence, attachment to material opulence. And here Krishna says, Bhog Aishwarya. Bhog means to enjoy, Aishwarya, sense, material opulence, prasaktana. We have heard the word asakti or asakta. Asakti means attached. And what is pra-asakti? Means prakrisht rupena akristi. Means asakti means complete attachment. And that is with everybody in the material world. Everybody, whether it is human beings, animals, birds, insects, fishes, everybody is trying to enjoy their senses to the fullest possible way. Whatever they can, they think that is fullest. A pig, now the soul in the body of the pig, thinking I am the pig, because consciousness is of the pig, thinks that if I eat this stool, I will enjoy it. This is my enjoyment, because this is how the body is designed. And he's trying to enjoy it that way. A dog is trying to enjoy his own way. Cat is trying to enjoy his own. It's all about enjoyment. And human beings, because we have our senses more developed, or consciousness is more developed, so senses work according to the consciousness, we are trying to enjoy so-called civilized way. Not in animalistic way, but the tendencies are the same. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These are the four tendencies. Everybody is working for this. And we are just trying to enjoy these senses. And the problem is, these senses can never be satisfied. Never. In the material world. Trying to enjoy materially. They can never be satisfied. This is how Krishna has designed the material world. They are supposed to give us frustration. They're designed in this way. Senses of what? Say, if we just go with the working senses, eyes, nose, ears, mouth, hands, legs, genitals, can they ever be fully satisfied? No. So this human body is given in such a way, can never be fully satisfied. Some desires will be fully completed or satisfied. Most of the desires partially satisfied, and many desires completely unsatisfied, unfulfilled, never going to be fulfilled. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is completely satisfied. Atmaram. We want to be satisfied, but we are looking for satisfaction in the wrong place. And that's why we are never, never, never satisfied. If I'm making $1 million today, then am I satisfied with that? No. Then I want to make next year 2 million, 10 million, billion. Even if I'm making $1 billion a year, all I'm going to eat, whatever 2 or 3 times a day I eat, that's it. I cannot eat more than that. And for sleeping, all I need is a bed. That's it. I cannot sleep. Even if I have a mansion, I cannot sleep in every room. But it gives satisfaction to my heart, to my mind, that I have such a big house, a big bank balance, and I have so many people following on Twitter and Facebook and whatever. It's just mental thing, nothing else. It will not give satisfaction. And somebody will always be better than me in some way or the other. If not in money-wise, some other way. People are better than me, always. So this sense enjoyment is such a thing. One can never be satisfied. And those who are too attached to this, they cannot make progress on the path of yoga. The first step of yoga is to control the mind, control the senses. Senses on their own cannot do anything, so mind has to be controlled. And what Krishna says, bhog, aishwarya, material opulence. So for sense enjoyment, one needs material opulence. So what to do? So that's what Krishna says, that one cannot be resolute on the path of devotional service. So those who somehow or other come on the path of devotional service, now what does Krishna do? Now they are saying that Krishna, I want your service, but I'm so much in the beginning stages, I don't have that kind of resolution. So Krishna starts frustrating them in their sense gratification, in their endeavors that can take away that devotee from Krishna's path towards Krishna. He tries frustrated. It's not that Krishna is enjoying seeing the devotee suffering, but because he knows this person can only make progress this way. Many times we see people say, oh, in devotion service, it's very tough. There's so much of suffering. It's like beginning of the end of suffering in the material world. Material world is full of suffering. Can anybody tell me, anybody who's absolutely happy in the material world? There's no suffering, no issues, no problems. There's nobody. Whether somebody is very rich or somebody is very, very poor, everybody is suffering. So why we have to stay here? Krishna is making sure that we come out of it, this place. Many times people say, why Krishna doesn't just take us back? Because he has given us this independence. He is supremely independent. We are minutely independent. So our desire to serve him, to love him has to be so strong that we want to go back. We want to serve him properly. That our desire has to be, the love for Krishna has to be there before he takes us back. If he wants, he can take back everybody. Yeah, the whole material world can be dissolved completely. But no, because love cannot be forced. Love has to be developed in our heart. So then what he does, he frustrates us materially. He takes away all our, we think we can be supported by this person or that person, or my money, my health, my intelligence, my relatives, my friends, or this or that. He takes away all of it. Why? Because he wants, as he says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. Just surrender unto me. I'll free you. I'll absolve you of all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Do not worry. With that faith, if we surrender unto him, he's ready to even give himself to us. But that faith, that bhakti has to be there. And when we are too much attached to sense enjoyment, material opulence, that faith, that surrender, that love cannot develop. Now there are even Arjun. Arjun is a family coming from kings. Yudhishthira Maharaj, the whole battle was arranged to put Yudhishthira Maharaj on the throne. And he was the king of the entire world, not just of India, not of only one city. The whole world was under him. So somebody can say material opulence. But the word here uses word too attached to material opulence. Material opulence is not wrong. Attachment to it is what doesn't make us progress. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was not at all attached to whatever he had attained by mercy of Krishna. Because as soon as they got the news that Krishna has unmanifested his pastimes and he's gone back, immediately Yudhishthira Maharaj put Parikshit Maharaj on throne, and all the 5 Pandavas along with Draupadi, they left for Himalayas. They were not attached. They were doing it as a service to Krishna. So this criteria has to be there. And that can only happen once we get attached to the service of Krishna. Then attachment to anything else, it just goes away. So the service has to be there, responsibility, duties, they're all there, yes. But attachment is only for Krishna. And this is what Krishna says, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place if somebody is too attached. So Purport Prabhupada says, Samadhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary, Nirukti, says, Samyag adhiyate asmin atma tattva yathamaya. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in Samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyments and bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. So that is why this earthly planet or earthly planetary systems, Bhuvandal, this planet is a place of misery, no doubt, but this is the place where we can make progress in the path of yoga or devotional service. Upper planets is too much of enjoyment, too much of opulence. And that's why in the previous verse, Krishna says, because Vedas mostly talk about how to go to heaven and how to enjoy flowery words of Vedas, don't follow that. So it means, what's the point in going to heaven to enjoy? It's too much of opulence, yes, too much of pleasure, long life. According to earthly calculation, minimum life there is 10,000 years. Very opulent. But Krishna says in later part, 9th chapter, Kshirne Purne Marte Lokam Vishanti. Once your pious activities, bank balance, by which one goes to heaven, is over, he comes back to Marte Lok, to the planet of death, which is this earth. Even the planets below earth, it is called Bil Swarga. So few planets below earth, they are as opulent as Swarga, as heavenly planets. Although ruled by demons, not demigods. Upper planets ruled by demigods, lower planets ruled by demons. But demons also they are so much in mode of passion. Their planets are also very nicely constructed, built, and maintained. Very much opulent. But that's also not good for us who want to make progress on the path of devotion service. And below those planets, below those Bil Swarga or subterranean heavenly planets, there are planets where hell, like punishments are given. So much of punishment. Obviously, one cannot make progress in devotional service. So this planet, and on this planet, in the human form of life, especially, it is mentioned in scripture, especially those born in India, no? By so many ways, people are traveling all over the world, or a dharma is being established, Vedic dharma is being established all over. So that's a different story. But those people who were born in India, so they are so fortunate in human form, those are born in India, they're so fortunate that they can make progress easily on the path of devotion service. Other planets, other forms, not at all possible. So we should, that's why Bhagavad Gita is spoken, so we can understand what's the goal of life, and we should try to make progress very, very fast on this. So we fulfill the purpose of human form of life. It's not for just eating, sleeping, and having sex and defending ourselves. It's not for that. It's to make progress in yoga system. So we connect ourselves, connect our consciousness with Krishna. Further, Krishna says, again he talks about Veda. Tragunya Vishya Veda, Nisragunya Bhavarjuna, Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvasto, Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. It's not that he's denouncing Vedas, but the real purpose of Vedas, or the knowledge, Vedas means knowledge given in the scriptures, is to make somebody grow spiritually. But most of the people are not interested in that. So they're only interested in karma kanda, or I do this, I get this result, and I can enjoy. So the Vedas were written in such a way, or actually it's not written, Vedas come from Krishna. Vyasadeva compiled them 5,000 years ago. So Krishna knows how to make people grow gradually. So he has given the things. So at least some people follow the Vedas instead of not following anything. At least follow Karma Kand, you'll gradually make progress. But this is not the real purpose of Krishna. Because in 15th chapter, Krishna himself says, Vedasya sarver aham vedya. I gave all the Vedas, I gave every knowledge, but by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Ultimate purpose of Vedas is if one knows Krishna. That is called Brahman. But Vaishnava even goes one step further, or many steps further actually. Vaishnava serves Krishna with love. Not just knows him, they serve him also. So that is even further, going further. And very, very little part of Veda deal with that. Because mostly people don't want to follow them. But this is what Krishna says. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjun, become transcendental to these three modes. Means become transcendental to the knowledge of the Vedas. Go above, beyond that. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. All anxieties of niryoga kshema. Yoga means to gain, kshema means to lose. But just get free from that. Or kshema means to protect, because the fear of losing something makes us want to protect it. Prabhupada says, all material activities involve actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. So three modes are goodness, passion, and ignorance. So all material activities, they involve these only, these three modes. Our consciousness, our bodies, everything, our activities, our words, everything is based on these three modes of material nature. So depending upon what kind of consciousness we develop by living in this human form of life, we get the next body. If we develop mode of goodness, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita later on, Urdhvam gachanti sattvas, so those who are in mode of goodness go in the upper planetary systems or in the higher form of life. Those in passion, they remain on this planet. Those in ignorance, they go down or in lower forms of life. But these three modes are not like on the effect of these three modes are not permanent. That means they keep on changing. Sometimes goodness is prominent, sometimes passion, sometimes goodness or ignorance, and it's always different permutations, combinations of these three modes. It could be 80% goodness, 10% passion, 10% ignorance, or 10% goodness and 80% ignorance, whatever. It just varies, keeps on varying throughout the day also. In the morning time, mostly in the mode of goodness, afternoon time or evening time, it's passion. We work hard or we want to enjoy, go to bars and clubs and we want to enjoy, and nighttime is for ignorance. So these three modes keep on attacking us, keep on controlling us. And our bodies are also in the three modes. Our talks, our education, everything is so controlled, these three modes. This is the real web of the material world. We talk about internet is World Wide Web, but the real web is of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And when we desire something, which also is bound by the three modes, because our activities, our association is in that, then suppose I desire to kill somebody. Okay, the desire can be there. Now, depending upon my karmas, the super soul is there in my heart. It either sanctions it or doesn't sanction it. So it sanctions it to kill somebody. Then the Prakriti's three modes become active. They're always active, but become active on me means ignorance will be more active than the passion, and definitely no goodness. When I want to kill somebody, then I go and kill that person. So many times people ask, so what was my fault? My fault was because I desired. Why did you desire to kill somebody? And then you will get the reaction. One will get the reaction. And this is what Prabhupada said. All material activities involve actions and the reactions in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive results. Means what I do, I get the fruits. Karma, karma phala, which cause bondage in the material world. So even if I do the activities in the mode of goodness, which is to help somebody, to serve somebody, or to give charity, or do some other activities for the service of humanity or service of other living beings, there'll be reaction. There'll be good reaction. The good reaction means I'll enjoy the result of that. But it's still binding. Means I'm not out of the material world. And when I am in the material world, even if I'm in the mode of goodness, I will commit some sins, knowingly or unknowingly. And for that, again, reaction will be there. So I'll be doing combination of activities, whether in goodness, passion, ignorance, all these activities, some combination will always happen, and the reactions will always be there. So it's not like I will always lead a sinless, very pious life. Some issues will always be there. So for those, I have to suffer. For pious activities, I'll enjoy. And the cycle goes on and on and on and on. The Vedas deal mostly with fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. So this is the purpose of the Vedas. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy. So this is Vedanta, where the Vedas end, actually, or the essence of Vedas, where in the beginning there is Brahm Jigyasa, or questions on the supreme transcendence. So Vedanta, Srila Vyasadeva, when he compiled all the scriptures, then he wrote these sutras, or aphorisms, or we can say theorems, of in the form of a book that's called Vedanta Sutras. So first Vedanta Sutra is Atha Brahma, Athata Brahma Jigyasa. So that's it. This is one sutra. Now, Acharyas have given commentaries on Vedanta Sutras. Okay, what does Vedvyas ji mean? All the Vaishnavacharyas and then Shankaracharya, they have given their commentaries based on their realizations. So, Athata Brahma Jigyasa. So, what does that mean? Atha Brahma Jigyasa. Atha means now, since you have got this human form of life, Brahma Jigyasa, try to find out about Brahman. What is Brahman? Who am I? What is my connection with him? He is Parabrahman and we are little Brahman. So this is the real goal to start with. Who am I? And if we don't have, then means we are not human beings, actually. So this is what Prabhupada says. In the beginning, there is Brahma Jigyasa, or questions on the supreme transcendence. All the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom, advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. So we have to live in the material world for whatever karmas we have done to take this body. So we have to be here. But while living here in the material body, we can plan and we can work on how to get out of here. That's the whole purpose. And Krishna has given the information, instructions, and Krishna has given the instructions in scriptures and through his messengers, through acharyas. So many acharyas are there. They have given the instructions. We just need to follow that. And when we say, oh, making progress is so difficult spiritually, actually it is not. Living in the material world and suffering here tremendously, that is more difficult. Sometimes people get scared of, oh, you have to get up early in the morning and do all these activities. But actually it's fun. There's so much of enjoyment in that. But people don't understand. For them, going to bed late at night and watching movies or going to bars and doing all sorts of nonsense, that is fun. Now it depends what kind of fun we are looking for. So this is what Prabhupada, all the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom advising how to live and get rid of this material entanglement. So it's just like a lotus flower. It grows in mud or in water, but in very dirty place. But it's always, first of all, the petals of that flower, they're about 1.5 or 2 inches above water. So they're not touching the water. And even if there is a drop of water falls on those petals, they just flow off. They're never in contact with the water, although they're grown in the water. So similarly, we can be in the material world, but not of the material world. Means we don't have to get connected with it. When the activities of for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of the Upanishads, which are part of different Vedas, as Bhagavad Gita is a part of the 5th Veda, namely Mahabharata. The Upanishads mark the beginning of transcendental life. So Upanishad means, Upa means near, and Nishad means to sit down, to one or to bring closer to, or bring one near God. Like there's a Upanishad called Isha Upanishad. So Isha means God, Upanishad means to bring one closer to God, that is Isha Upanishad. So Upanishad marks the beginning of transcendental life. Now that's also Vedic scripture, but they really bring one closer. Upanishad means lots of philosophy is given in that, lots of instructions. And Gita is also considered an Upanishad, although it's a part of Veda, 5th Veda named Mahabharata. Mahabharata is considered 5th Veda, and Gita is part of that, but Gita itself is an Upanishad. Mahabharata can be called Veda, and Mahabharata is also Puran. Puran means instructions given through the stories, in the stories form, because people like to hear stories. Nobody likes to hear philosophy. So we want to hear stories. Of course, people just take it in a very like a novel way. Oh, Mahabharata, and Krishna did this, and Pandavas did this, and whatever, who all are involved, Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, they did this. but there is some knowledge, instructions behind it. So we have to take the instructions. Just memorizing Mahabharata or reading it as a storybook, it will help because it's a scripture. But if we learn from it, if we take instructions from it and then apply those instructions in our life, that will be really helpful. But the Upanishads, they're just straight philosophy. So those who are interested, they can read more and then make more problems. As long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material mode. One has to learn tolerance in the face of duality, such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth, and by tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the goodwill of Krishna. So this is real yoga, when one controls or just remains or tolerates all the dualities of life. That is yoga. But when one is connected with Krishna, that is, there's even higher part of yoga, he is always happy, even if there's so-called or apparent distress in his life. He's always happy because he has full faith in Krishna and a love for Krishna, and he knows whatever Krishna does, it's the best thing for me. Whether one loses money, whether one loses his material possessions, or whether one gains so much, everything, whatever Krishna wants, he does, and it's the best thing for me. Krishna is my dear friend. He can never let me down. That's it. And Krishna does take care of his devotees, always. Like he took care of Arjuna and the Pandavas in the battlefield of Mahabharata. He's always there. And through Arjuna only, later on in Bhagavad Gita, he says, just declare it boldly, my devotee never perishes. Never. Means he's always there to protect his devotees. So when such kind of yoga or such kind of connection is there, where is the possibility of any anxiety or any distress? There cannot be. Text 46. Yavanarth udpane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. So all the purposes served by a small well. In earlier days, in villages, there were different wells. So one well just to take water for cooking, one well for drinking water, one well for washing clothes, water that is used for washing the clothes, and other wells, maybe one well for the animals to drink water from, or other wells for other purposes. But all these purposes can be served by a big reservoir of water, maybe a pond or a river. If there's a big pond, so we can use the pond water for different purposes at the same time. So why Krishna is saying that? Because there are so many purposes mentioned in the Vedas. But all this can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Means one who really follows Krishna in the yoga, he doesn't need to do all the other different things. Go to or do this karma kanda to get this money, or this karma kanda, this yajna, this tapasya to get proper health or proper education or this or that. One doesn't need to do all this. Because if we are approaching the source, and the source, Krishna, is a reservoir, big reservoir, everything comes from him, means all the purposes will be served without a problem, without any difficulty. The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedic literature are meant to encourage gradual development of self-realization. And the purpose of self-realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to know Lord Krishna, the primeval cause of everything. So self-realization means understanding Krishna and one's eternal relationship with him. The relationship of the living entities with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. Mamev ansho jiva loke. Krishna says, Mamev ansho, they are definitely my ansha, my parts. Every living entity, means every soul. And obviously the body we have is material energy of Krishna. So everything belongs to Krishna. So revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. So this is the highest perfection stage, and revival, see here the words that Prabhupada used are amazing. Every word has a meaning. The revival of Krishna consciousness. It doesn't say creation of Krishna consciousness or making of Krishna. No, it's a revival. Means it is always there. Just like Krishna says, Mame Vansho Jeev Loke Jeev Bhuta Sanatana, means Sanatan means eternally we are part and parcel of Krishna. So eternal means no beginning and no end. We have always been, we are, will always be. Only thing is we have forgotten right now. Somehow that knowledge is covered over by material modes of nature. So we have to revive it, that's all. It's there. The connection is there. Yoga is there. It just covered over. It's just like sometimes an electric wire or some other thing that has to have connection, but it gets rusted, or some coat of rusting, or coat of some grease, or coat of something else is there. So all we have to do is remove that grease of rusting and just do the connection, and the wire will work fine. So similarly, on our consciousness, this modes of material nature, they have covered over. The consciousness is always pure. It got covered over. We just have to remove that covering. That's all. And how to remove that covering? Krishna tells later on, but also the way is the person whose covering is removed, if he comes and helps, that is Guru or Acharya, then the covering or the impurity is gone, and our yoga or connection becomes shining again, and it works. And this is what Prabhupada says, this is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. And this is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. O my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that of a Chandal, dog eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literatures many, many times after taking his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So one who is chanting your holy name, this is what Bhagavatam says. He must have done everything that is required in the Vedas. Going to the places of pilgrimage, studying the Vedic literature, doing all kinds of havans, yagyas, rituals, everything he must have done. Then he comes to the point of where he can chant your holy name. And here, actually, in the shloka, it says, Yad Jivva Agre Vartate Nam Tubhyam. Jivva Agre means even if he's not chanting with full concentration, just a lip service, even then one has to understand that he must have performed everything that is mentioned in the Vedas. Then he gets a chance to come to this stage of chanting your holy names. So how powerful it is and how qualified those persons are, we can't understand. So this is what Prabhupada then he says, so one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for a better quality of sense gratification. It's not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals, nor is it possible to study all of the Vedanta and Upanishads thoroughly. Definitely, we don't have time and we don't have proper guides or teachers to teach us. We don't even have inclination to study everything. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purposes of the Vedas. This is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. So this is all coming from the scriptures. Prabhupada never in any of his purports, in not just Bhagavad Gita, even Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, anywhere, he never says, I think or I believe so. No. It's all coming from the scriptures and he is presenting it. He says one doesn't need to study all the Vedas and Upanishads, because Bhagavatam says if one is chanting the holy names, means he has studied everything in previous lives. Many, many times he has done that. So all one has to do is chant with full faith. Chant, just chant. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar, Prakashanand Saraswati, why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist instead of studying Vedanta philosophy, the Lord replied that his spiritual master had found him to be a great fool and thus asked him to chant the holy names of Lord Krishna. This doesn't mean Lord did not have the knowledge of Vedanta. He is himself the Lord. He is a source of Vedas. So he had all the knowledge. And in fact, later on, he defeated Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, another Vedic scholar in Vedanta philosophy. But the point he was making is, if somebody is not sitting down and studying the Vedas, or rather he is chanting and dancing, that person is even greater, who's chanting and dancing. Because this chanting of the holy names on the tip of the tongue does not come so easily and doesn't come for anybody and everybody. In the age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. And the highest Vedantist is a great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. But we do study scriptures given by Prabhupada. Why? First, to develop more faith, and then secondly, we also have to preach. We have to give the knowledge to others. So we do study, but the ultimate goal is to chant the holy names of the Lord inoffensively. So if you do that, that means the person has attained all the knowledge. Everything that is to be known, he has attained. So I guess I can stop here, because next verse is one of the, mostly people, they are saying this is what Bhagavad Gita teaches. This is the most important verse. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Well, actually, it is not. The next verse is Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. If you ask anybody in India what is Bhagavad Gita, oh, Karma ki Yoja Phal ki Chinta Mat Kar. So we'll discuss this next Saturday. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.